Do I get more child support if the other parent never sees the child? Hi, I'm Alycia Kinchloe, the owner of Kinchloe Law, a family law practice based in the Philadelphia area. One of the questions that we get is, when can the child support guidelines deviate upward from what the suggested support amount is? Now, often in videos, I talk about what can make the child support get lower. Today, we're going to talk about what can make it go higher. And one of those things can be if the other parent never sees a child. Now, one of the things that the support guidelines do is makes an assumption about certain things regarding the parties. Now, the child support guidelines is what Pennsylvania uses in order to determine what the amount of support should be for a particular family of a particular size. Now, there are some things that go into the calculation, but generally the idea is that a family in Philadelphia and a family in Pittsburgh who look similar to each other, meaning that they make the same amount of net income a month and have the same amount of children, should be responsible for the same type of child support obligation. Before the guidelines were enacted, you could get a very different amount in different courts, and sometimes even in the same court, even though the families were similarly situated. So the guidelines sought to kind of take out some of this arbitrary amount that was going into play. And in doing the guidelines, there are certain assumptions that are made. One of the assumptions that is made is that the non-custodial parent, so generally the parent who's paying the child support obligation, but not always the case, but that the non-custodial parent is spending time with the child. And it's important to understand here too that a lot of the times the way that child support calculates your time is by overnights. So they're presuming that, or assuming that there's a certain amount of overnights that the non-custodial parent gets or has, and that is factored into the overall support obligation number. So I'm going to remind you at this point in the video that this video is for informational purposes only, and you want to speak with an attorney about the facts specific to your case who's licensed in your particular state, and remind you again that these videos are regarding Pennsylvania law and statutes and case law. So when it comes down to understand the amount of time, the way that I kind of explain it is that when a non-custodial parent or a parent who's paying child support hits 40% of overnights, they start to see their child support obligation go down. So that means that the statutes presume that a parent spends up to, a non-custodial parent, or again the parent paying the support, spends up to 40% of the custodial time with the children. However, one of the deviations that can cause a child support obligation to go up is if the parent who's paying child support is not getting any time with the child at all. So they're not spending any time. And sometimes we have that. We have a situation where parents are not spending any time. They have nothing to do with the child, unfortunately, or they can't spend any time with the child. And the child support obligation can be increased at the discretion of a hearing officer, formerly called master, if they think that is the right move to make. So the short answer is generally yes. A parent who is spending no time with the child may be required to pay more in support, however the hearing officer deems fit, based on the circumstances of the individual case, and if that issue is raised during a master or hearing officer level adjudicating hearing. So that might be something that you want to consider, and something that the other party who's paying support should be aware of, that if there is no time being spent with the child, it could cause an increase in the actual child support obligation. Again, reminder, speak with your attorney about the facts specific to your case. If you have questions about this particular video or anything on child support, custody, or divorce, make sure you put it in the comments below. We're creating these videos for you to answer some of your questions and to provide you on some tips for navigating the process. All right, until next time, take care.